Greetings and welcome to another video, and in this one today we are going to continue on with the Was the Commodore 64 Any Good arcade port series. Now, as with the last video, the further the 80s progressed, the further behind the 64 got in the terms of its ability to create graphics that matched the arcade. So what a lot of people did when they were porting the games over is they played to the 64 strengths, and rather than making an out-and-out arcade port, they would make something that was an approximation of. So the gameplay was there, but sometimes the graphics were simplified in a way that did not make them look shit. Alright, they are going to be a bit more blocky on the 64 because it's got that much of a lower resolution, but even so, I still think the games I'm looking at today are still fairly faithful versions of the arcade. So let's crack on. Buggy Boy is an arcade game that was developed in 1985 by Tatsumi Electronics, and the original game had a massive cockpit you could sit in, and it had 3 screens on it. But in 1986 they brought out a single screen version, and it was called Buggy Boy Junior, which is the version that I'm using for the game here. Now, this is a game that I have found out is really difficult to play in Mame. I'm doing it here with a mouse. I tried with sort of like digital controls rather than analog, and the car just swings from left to right. So I think really what you want for this, if you've got one, is a steering wheel. Now, I do have one I can connect to my Mame cabinet, but I don't capture footage from my Mame cabinet, so I shall struggle along. So that is why it's veering a bit. But that aside, this game really stood out when it first came out. Not only did you have this massive fuck off cabinet, it's the graphics. They're really bright, and look how big the main car is. I mean, that is massive for the time. You know, 1985. You know, this is like a year before Outrun, and the car in Outrun is a lot smaller than this, and it's really hard to stay on there when you're using the mouse. I got so annoyed with this one. Some of my voiceovers I do while I'm playing, some of them I do afterwards. This is an afterwards one because I just got so infuriated I wasn't saying anything. So we'll redo the audio for this. Good job I recorded it on a separate track. Anyway, that aside, that was the first track. Try my hardest to get the mouse to go on the north track, and this one is like well, it starts off as snowy looking with sort of like, well, they look like Christmas trees on stilts. But yeah, if you can connect up a steering wheel to play this, it's absolutely great. But other than that, in Mame, the controls are really tricky. I mean, look, 2 bridges and I couldn't get across a single one of them twice. But it's a nice looking game, very smooth, almost cartoony graphics, and I like the way they've kind of shown the off-road with all the lines on the ground rather than just the stripes that they do in a lot of the old racing games. But definitely a game that's worth your time. But as I say, with the mouse or the joystick, you're not going to have the best of times. Great fun game, and I have featured the Commodore 64 version in a video before about driving games, and that, well, you'll see, is something that I think was really rather special. Let's have a look. Buggy Boy on the C64 was brought out in 1987 from Elite, and I have, as I said in the arcade part, I have featured this before in the driving games video I did. This is a game where literally they took all the best parts of the arcade and completely scaled it down on the Commodore 64, so it works better. So the car is tiny compared to the arcade, but this plays so well. It is so smooth. You know, anyone that says the C64 can't do racing games, show them this and then tell them they're talking bollocks, because this is absolutely brilliant. I spent hours playing this when I was younger. Not that you'd think so, watching my gameplay efforts, but yeah. I've said a lot about this game before. So most of the obstacles and graphical effects are there. You've got all the flags, all the tunnels, the fences. Nice flashing time thing, so you remember to pick it up like I just didn't. Yeah, and you've got the bridges as well that you can fall in, just like that. So that is almost identical to the arcade version. I did that on that as well. So that was the off-road one. I will do the North Road as well on this, so you can have a look at how that differs to the arcade one, or how close they've got it. So you can see it's just as wintry looking. But I really like this one. That's going to be a crash and a splash. Well, at least I made it all the way across without falling off again. But yeah, definitely a great racing game. Definitely one I recommend. It can be quite tough, but once you learn the tracks, it does pose a really nice time attack challenge. Forever trying to better your score or you better your times and that. Yeah, bona fide Commodore 64 classic, that one. Arkanoid, which came out in 1986 by Taito, is a breakout clone with extras. Let's put it that way. It's a standard bat and ball game, but in this bat and ball game, the graphics are nicer, as you can see. I'll let the demo mode run for a minute. More sound effects and power-ups. And power-ups is what sets this game aside from the original Breakout and some of the others, although this itself has been cloned many times on many different computers, and some have been sideways. I think there was one called Batty on the Spectrum. I know Crackout on the 64 was another version. There's been many. It's often been done. But for me, I never really played the original Breakout, so this was my real first experience of a Breakout game, and I played it in the home way before I played it in the arcade. And one thing you should know about this game, without the arcade paddle, this game is bastard hard. I mean, really fucking hard. Instant death there. Instant. It's very smooth, it's very slick, and it really does go quick. I mean, you really do appreciate the slowdown power up in this one. I mean, look, 3 balls and I missed a lot. But nice colours, nice graphics. Just really difficult. I mean, what was that? So that's one game. Um, well, maybe we'll have another go on this one. Right, after a quick reset, we will try again. So yeah, basically, it says it there on the screen. That's the story. And if you ever make it to the last level, that someone is a massive head. Now that extend power up is very useful indeed. It does make the arcade one a little bit easier to play. The red one there is lasers. And it's trying to make me have the lasers because that'll make the bat small again. But it does mean you can fire lasers and destroy the blocks at the top just with the bat. Now you see, that's what happens in this game. If the lasers come down again, I'll try and grab them and show you what they look like. But don't get too excited, it's nothing that special. Yeah, I managed to get all three. Them little aliens that you can see buzzing about tend to deflect the... there's a laser. Right, let's have a go. Yeah, they tend to deflect the ball. And that's fucked that up. So yeah, a nice looking game. But there's one thing the 64 version's got that this one hasn't. And that thing is Martin Galway. One of the first digital sampled drum tracks on a 64 game. And it's absolutely superb. This was another one of those pieces of music that the first time you heard it, you was like, how can they do this on an 8-bit computer? But Martin Galway did it, and it's absolutely fantastic. So you see, with the 64 version, you can choose between different controllers. And a mate of mine had paddles back in the 80s, and we used to sit and play it on that. And it's a little bit easier. I am here going to try and play it with a gamepad. So, fuck knows how this is going to go, but I'll give it a go anyway. So as you can see, colour-wise, yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yes, now that's what you want. A slow down followed by a catch. Now this makes the game a bit slower and a bit less frantic, but it does mean there's more chance of completing levels. I was really impressed with this when it came out. I mean, I hadn't played the arcade one, but I had seen screenshots and that in the magazines, and you know, magazines like Computer and Video Games. They used to put like screenshots of the arcade version and that in, and this is a solid port. I mean, all right, with the slowdown and the catch power-ups, it does make it look a bit slow, a bit easy, and a bit pedestrian, but it's anything but. When this picks up speed, it really does pick up speed, and it is so smooth, the movement of the ball in this one. This is one of those rare goes where I haven't died yet. I'm going to jinx it now, and I... Oh, not bad, not bad. But as far as I know, all of the power-ups that are in the arcade version are in this. The lasers, the slow down, the catch, the extend, the one that splits the ball into three. So I'm fairly certain all that, but you can see how fast that's moving now. Yeah, that's quite a long time to lose a life. Be quite proud of that actually, using a gamepad. If I just get another slowdown, I'll be laughing. Oh, that was close. But yeah, a thoroughly solid port. How did I miss that? I think with the exception of the 16-bit versions, which were more configured to play with a mouse, I would say this was probably the best version that I've played anyway. I mean, you know, if there's more, there's more. I haven't played every version. So I'll spin it on. This is level 2. And that's a good start. So now the goldier coloured bricks on here, they're indestructible. So there's nothing you can do about them. That's handy. Normally you hit an alien, it sends it back the same way. Now I've hit the slow one again there. Might as well have the catch. I don't know if that's gone any slower again. I don't know if they stack, but I'm grabbing them for the points really. What we really need is one that splits the ball up. I like that. That's bloody handy. And they haven't fully sped up yet. Oh, you can destroy them bricks at the bottom. Oh, there you go. It must be the more yellower ones then. Oh no, it's the blue ones, because I know for a fact on this level you can't do it. Yeah, I've spun it on again. I was actually getting a good game in. Considering I'm using the gamepad, I am very surprised at how well this go went. Yeah, I had to open my fucking big mouth, didn't I? A bit of backwards and forwards going on there. Oh, that's very handy. Now you can see the sort of speed it will pick up. There's no way I'm going to get that, that's why I didn't bother. Or that. Oh, here we go. Oh, that was lucky. Anyway, meanwhile, spinning on one more level. Yeah, this one poses a sort of difficulty because of how close the bottom is to the bat, and you haven't got a lot of room to move. But yeah, that's the Commodore 64 version. I think that is a thoroughly stand-up port, and who knew you could do that with a gamepad. So Gapless is the third in the series, preceded by Gallagher, and that was preceded by Galaxian. So it's a vertical single screen shoot 'em up of the same ilk. Yeah, it can be quite difficult, especially when they kamikaze into you like that. But it is it's another arcade classic, really. It follows the pattern. I mean, out of the three, I myself prefer Gallagher, but I do like the iconic sounds from Galaxian. Well, this is as you can see, it's a continuation, much of the same, except in this one, you catch the ships instead of them catching the ships and getting them back. Although I'm not going to do it this time because I've just shot the one that catches it. So on to Parsec 2. Yeah, there's not much really I can say about this other than it's another shoot. Oh, bloody hell. Other than the fact that it's another shoot 'em up. So that would be game over. I think I'll have another quick go at that one. Right, there we go again. Right, this one does follow very much in the same vein as all of the single screen shooters, you know, Space Invaders, obviously Gallagher and Galaxian, Mooncrester, Phoenix. Not so much Golf, but yeah, it's quite a challenging game. Right, let's see if I can actually capture some aliens in this one to show you that. It's not looking promising, to be fair. Well, they've just buggered off. It's nice to have up and down movement in it. Not that it's helped me really at all yet. Hey, that'll do. I still won't hold my breath at getting any further than Parsec 2, but you get the idea. Yep, that'll do it. The all too familiar game over screen. Definitely needs practice on that one, but a cracking shoot 'em up. Let's have a look at the Commodore 64 version. So on the 64, one of the first things you'll notice that the music is by the Maniacs of Noise, and even more so, it is actually by my old mate Jarun Tell. It's a pretty good tune. It's a tune the arcade didn't have for sure. And this is not a bad version of the game. There are less sprites on the screen, and it does have an annoying feature, which I will illustrate. So yeah, as you can see, the sprites are somewhat bigger. But they do look like their arcade counterparts. Now you'll notice the annoying thing. I've got killed and the entire level has started again. So you've got to do it in one go. So if you get killed right at the death of level 1, you've basically got to do level 1 from the start. That is different to the arcade, and that is the only real downside to this game. The rest of it is pretty much spot on, albeit with slightly bigger graphics. It's very playable. It's just that one annoying feature. I don't know if it's just the copy I've got, or if that is a fixed thing for this game, or you know, maybe there's options that I haven't noticed. But yeah, I'm not too fond of the starting an entire level again. But apart from that, it's golden. Let's see if in this version I can actually capture an alien craft. I do like the way they've kept the colours fairly accurate to the arcade version. Well, not going to catch a ship this time because I've just killed it. I'm not sure what the actual rules are for that ship. Sometimes it buggers off the top of the screen, sometimes it buggers off the bottom of the screen. But we'll see. Seeing as the level started again, I'll get another chance. Fairly authentic sounds as well. Not overtaxing the SID. Just wish it didn't have this mechanic where it keeps restarting all the time. There we go. Right. So you drag in an alien ship like that. It does this on the arcade as well. And bloody hell, I've only gone and finished a level. Or a parsec, as it were. So now I've got double firepower. Yeah, that really helped, didn't it? That is what is known as L fuck up. But yeah, not a bad version, just with one annoying mechanic. It's another one, you know, it's a Mastertronic game, so it wouldn't have broken the bank, and well worth the money for pretty decent jar and tell music. There's not much more I can say about it than that, but definitely one worth trying. I can tell you right away before I even start that this is going to be a quick game, because this game is absolutely bastard hard. It really is. It's another 1985 Atari game, and obviously it's based on the Warner Brothers cartoon of Roadrunner. And you played a part of Roadrunner, Movatus Unbelievers, and Wile E. Coyote, Eatius Birdius. And what you've got to do is you've got to pick up the seed and not get caught by Wile E. Coyote like that. And at the top there you can see you've got your seed meter, and if you miss a seed it warns you. If you miss 5 seeds you're knackered and you stop, and Wile E can catch you. This game is absolutely nuts to control, and it's got this annoying mechanic of you kind of, if you run into the sides, you get stuck, and that lets Wile E catch up with you like that. But yeah, very cartoon graphics. Not a terrible game. It's just really hard to control, especially using a gamepad. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get very far here. You've got cars that run you over. Let's see if Wile E don't get you first. But yeah, there you go. That was a nice quick go. I think that'll do for this one, because as much fun as it is sometimes, it can also be fairly infuriating. At least it's got the Warner Brothers cartoon music. And there is the Roadrunner himself. So, over on the 64, we get pretty much the same game. And I think of all the versions I've seen of this on the 8-bits, this one is the most arcade-like of the lot. It's smooth scrolling. The graphics are pretty good for what they are. There you go. That, I think, looks bloody marvellous. And the annoying thing about this one, even though it's a bit slower, so it's a little bit easier to do what you need to, this one really does suffer like that from getting stuck on the side of the road, which is a shame. It's a shame they couldn't have knocked that mechanic out a bit, because it makes a difficult game even more difficult. But that aside, once you get used to it, this is a really good conversion of the arcade game. I could have done with missing that truck as well. They are really difficult to avoid once you're in line with them. But yeah, oh Christ, the same rules apply. You don't want to miss 5 bird seed, otherwise that's a life gone. Sometimes you just have to miss them or you're going to get deaded. Another truck. But this does look like the cartoon, albeit in 8-bit form. Oh, I could have done with getting up there. It's really difficult when you get stuck to the sides, but you know, it does play pretty much the same as the arcade. This really is a nice looking conversion of the arcade game, but like the arcade, I'm only having one go because it takes a bit of practice and the gamepad is still not the best way to do it. So what we've got now is what is considered by many, myself included, to be an arcade classic, Gauntlet, which is from Atari and it came out in 1985. Now the thing that stands out about this game, apart from the colourful graphics and the fact you can choose different characters, I've chose the Valkyrie because although her shots aren't as strong, she moves quite quickly, which is handy for legging it. Yeah, the good thing about this is, particularly the arcade version, is you could have 4 players at once. Now I could go through there and level skip, but I'm going to try and play the levels in order for the purposes of this. Yeah, this is a much better game when you're playing with friends. Right, pick up a potion, and if you activate a potion, you pretty much kill everything on the screen. Which, when there's a lot like that, is very useful indeed. And you pick up keys to open doors. There's loads of different baddies to fight. I mean, I'm assuming most people know what Gauntlet is, but those white kind of skull things on the floor, those are the monster generators. So that's what's creating the ghosts, or that's what the ghosts are coming out of. So you want to take them out to stop the enemies from appearing on screen. But it's a great game. I'm not sure how many levels there are. I think it's something like 100, but I am just going on memory. It's not one I've ever completed, let's put it that way. But yeah, so you don't have lives in this game, you have health, and it's continually counting down. So much so that I've only got a couple of 100 left.
Ow! Valkyrie, your life force is
so yeah, I think I'm going to act on that, and I am going to insert some more coins. There we go, that's one more. So it gave me about 600 health. I thought it gave you more than that.
Ouch!
Well, that's a bit better. More from that one. Yep, so that's the usual thing. Run around, get the keys. I do normally like to clear a level out, but seeing as I'm quickly trying to show you some stuff as a comparison, we'll move on. After you've kind of seen everything, then messages do stop. Slow the gameplay down. Yeah, there's a lot of different speech in this game, and I think that was something, even though by today's standards it sounds very computer generated, it was a standout point back in the day when, not all games had speech. You had early games like Berserk that had speech in, and Wizard of War. But the speech was sounding, although computerized, it was a bit less robotic by the time we got to the mid-80s. But but definitely a fun game. Although, you know, if you're going to play it, I would recommend playing with a mate, because it is a good laugh, especially if you're playing with someone that's not going to be the sort of person that runs around and takes all the treasure and all the potions and all the food for themselves, because you do have food lying around, and that obviously boosts your health. Yeah, I'm going to come a cropper here in a minute, so it's best to back off with the Valkyrie and shoot. See, they're taking 2 hits to kill, and that's something that does transfer over well onto the home versions. And so this game also instills a little bit of strategy as well.
Valkyrie,
Although
your life force
I'm giving
is
up on
running
strategy
out.
now, and I'm just twatting everything. Yes, the ominous death chime. I've got a feeling I've gone the wrong way here. Yeah, bollocks, it's a dead end, and that's the end of that. But yeah, it is an arcade classic. You know, if you've got 4 players all standing around the machine, all shouting and jeering at each other, it can be a really good laugh. And this was ported to a number of home systems, and we, as usual, are going to have a look at the Commodore 64 version. So the Commodore 64 version of Gauntlet is, I think it's a pretty good version. It's by no means the best version. I mean, that would be, I mean, I played, it might have been Gauntlet 2 I played on the Atari ST, but the 16-bit versions of this had all the speech and, you know, the graphics and that. But for an 8-bit version, although this is probably not the best, it is very smooth and it is very playable. By not the best, I mean the best looking. But yeah, you could have 2 players at once, and that's the way I used to play it. So like the arcade version, I'll pick the Valkyrie again. And if you were playing it from tape, it's a bit of a pain in the arse because it's a multi-load, but I'm using the disc version here. And I would say they've got the level layouts pretty spot on. I think it's a fantastic version. You know, and like the arcade, I am going to do the levels in order. Do start with a bit more health on the home version. Let's see if I can reenact what I did in the first part of this by doing the potion and killing everything. Yep, like that. Well, yeah, not too shabby at all. It's, you know, the playability is there. That's the important part. I mean, you can make a game look identical to the arcade, but if it doesn't play the same, well, there's no point to it, really, is there? Oh, there's a glitchy ghost. So we'll carry on. Grab some food. Don't remember there being glitchy ghosts back when I used to play this. This might just be because it's a cracked copy or something. There's another one. Interesting. Well, it's not detracting from the game anyway. But yeah, everything's included in here. No, I need to hit them twice to kill them with a Valkyrie. Takes a few more hits to kill the generators. I'll move on to level 3, and this is the open level. This is where I had to start chucking coins in the arcade one, but I've got a bit more health here. I'm finding this quite difficult with a pad though to line up, because it's kind of like you're walking on a grid. Yeah, it does feel strange playing this by myself. I mean, I've got the newer version of Gauntlet that come out on the PC, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and that's kind of, I don't know, that kind of feels like playing something like Diablo, which is, well, I suppose it could say it's quite amusing, seeing as Diablo was kind of always pretty much considered a Gauntlet clone, and then the newer version of Gauntlet is kind of a Diablo clone, so it's kind of come full circle. So let's have a charge to the exit. I suppose it won't hurt to kill a couple of more things. I do generally like to try and clear a whole level, which I have almost nearly done. There we go. 2 keys. And we move on to level 4. So they've definitely got the layouts right, the levels. I mean, everything is in the same place right down to those 2 bashers. And as with the arcade game, I like the strategy of drawing them in, running away, and then shooting the fuck out of them. Yeah, I didn't want to shoot that though. That's a few points of health lost there that I could have gained back. The ghosts are the weakest of the things to shoot. The one that's in this game is a nightmare. I'm not sure if we're going to get to see it. Is the death that looks like it kind of looks like a little ninja. But that thing you cannot destroy. You have to leg it away from it. The only way to destroy it is to let it take a few hundred health off you. Which, in a game where health is paramount, is something of a pain in the arse. Oh, it's being surrounded. I'm not doing very well with my strategy here. Quite gained some health. But yeah, arcade perfect, no. But the layout is arcade perfect. I've got to give it that. You know, if you know how to, if you've memorised the arcade one, it will definitely help you out playing this version. It might not be the best looking either, but the gameplay is absolutely spot on. No complaints in that department. Can't remember the last time I played this. It was definitely a while ago. And it was definitely with a second player as well. And many an afternoon sat around my mate's house playing this. Because at that time, he had the colour telly and I had the black and white portable, so it's always better to play in colour around his house. Oh, it's not looking good for the Valkyrie here. I got a bit mullered on that bit. Can I get to the exit in time? Oh, 32 health left. This is not going to be a long version of level 5. Yeah, these things lob fireballs at you. And that's that. Yeah, classic on the Commodore 64. Another one I highly recommend. So there you have it. Another 5 arcade ports to the Commodore 64 that I think are worthy of at least a look and at least a go. I mean, as the time's moving on now, we're starting to get to the point where the Commodore 64 isn't good enough to really make the arcade games look like the arcade games. So we're getting to the point now where they've started to use coding tricks to get the games to at least play like the arcade. And the old 64 still has a few more surprises up its sleeve, and we will look at those in another video. So this time I'm going to leave you with that nice tune from Gapless by Joe and Till. So until the next video, thank you very much for watching, and laters.